All right, this is coming to an end. Planning and zoning. Roosters.
Is Tom here? Want to come up and talk?
Does he have this paper that's in front of us?
What paper?
The one that says the non-domestic animals only by permitted in certain districts, and does he have this and he doesn't? Okay.
All right. Who's,
You want to give your name and your address, please?
Tom Murphy, 7900 242nd.
And you have to use a microphone so people at home can hear you.
Tom Murphy, 7900 242nd Avenue.
all right, sir. Carol, who's got planning and zoning? Who's-
I have planning and
who's got
zoning
this?
and he has requested to come before the board to talk about roosters.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
Well, you guys have had this going around for over a year and you haven't done any ordinances on it. So, I mean, other communities all the way around us, they all got ordinances saying no roosters on, small lots. I mean, the smallest lot you can have a rooster is an acre and a half on all the other ones. And they're nuisance. So, I mean, what's the holdup? I don't get it.
I take it your neighbor has a rooster.
There's like 2 of them out there.
Okay. Anybody else? I have,
Is there ordinance review on this, right? I guess I'm only hearing,
Planning and zoning has never been asked to do anything. It has come before this board on several occasions in the past, and we have chosen not to put an ordinance together or ask planning and zoning to do so.
no, so I was just questioning, because you said we've had it in front of us for a year. I mean,
Well,
this
other
record?
people have brought it up
Okay.
and
I
they've
just
asked
wanted-
for something to be done about it and there's no ordinances. I mean, there's a clause of privacy nuisance where, I mean, I'm at the end of my rope with this thing, man. I'm, my mental and physical well-being is being threatened here because it's just constant. It's a constant crowing. It's ridiculous.
well. What the board want to do? What the board wants to do, we can send it to planning and zoning and have them drop an ordinance for it.
Well,
What's
you
everybody's
guys, see, you
feelings?
guys keep going back and forth with that. They say you guys have to approve.
We have to direct them to drop the ordinance for it.
Okay,
So if we tell them to go send it back to them, say we need an ordinance for this, they will draw us up an ordinance. They will put an ordinance together for us. We direct the committee does it, brings it back to us, we approve it, it becomes an ordinance.
okay,
So that's kind of how it works down the line.
all right.
Don't want to cut you off, but I mean, that's
Well,
kind
I
of the way it
didn't know
goes.
how it works, so I
Yeah.
thought they were just passing it back to you and I didn't know.
Well,
that you had to
actually,
approve it and
they
then go
did.
back to them.
Actually, they did because they haven't been directed to do it.
Mhm.
So they need direction from us before they can do what to do this. So-
Okay,
And planning and zoning asked if they were going to make an ordinance, do we want them to do something with all non-domestic animals? Or is it just roosters? Roosters are the ones that we get most often. We've had that several times in the last couple of years.
My thought is, I mean, depending upon the acreage. I mean, if you're sitting on a single plot,
yeah, if you look
And
at other
that's one thing you
communities
have to look
around
at.
us, East Bethel, North Branch, Stacy, they all got really nice ordinances written out. I mean, you could cut and paste some things.
well,
It's all
that's,
clear cut
I'll
and
guarantee
nice.
that's probably what they're gonna look at to see what fits for them.
Right.
So, like, I said, John,
If we're gonna send this to planning and zoning, would we want to also let them know kind of what our thoughts are? Cause I would think that that ordinance would be made up of different components or different criteria. Because one of them might be lot size, which I know they do in the cities. One of them might be, actual distance between the rooster's coop and, an adjacent property owner's home, those kind of things. But would we want to send something like that along with a request, if we're gonna request planning and zoning to work on this? Or are you just gonna give them broad scale, decide what they want?
The other ones just go by acreage.
Yeah, the only,
Over 5 acres, They can have a rooster in a lot of them and they can run free as far as I understood if they have over 5 acres.
Andy, you had
I'm-
something? I'm sorry, John.
I was just trying to prevent us asking them, giving them direction to come up with an ordinance, and they come back, and then I say, well, what about, a distance between the, coop and the, Jason, and then we have to send it back again. I was trying to figure out a way of maybe keeping this down to a.
Are we doing roosters and chickens? Or we just, I mean, usually I think the distance between is not just one rooster.
Yeah, roosters, like you said, have been the complaint. It's been what's been in the cities. I know, I think it's New Brighton that, they're allowed up to 6 chickens, no roosters, those kind of things. So I get it. I mean, I got a rooster and it crows but I'm also on a large plot of land. But I know that I've got 2 roosters. I got one to the north and one to the south, and they're at least a quarter of a mile away because I listen to them crow every morning. So, and all day long. So I know that that sound carries for a long time. I get it. So, but
Well, and I'm like maybe 80 feet away. So they're loud
yeah,
and it's constant.
We have a noise ordinance, don't we?
nope.
We don't have any noise ordinance in this township.
Yeah, you do, but
We do.
Okay.
the sheriff never enforced it all.
Sheriff has to be there to
Because
hear.
how is it any different than dog barking? Dogs are legal, but a barking dog is not.
Or noise ordinances are really hard, Bob, to have the deputy sheriff do anything about.
Right, they won't do anything about it.
Decibel meter on it, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
Just, and maybe to build on that more, because I've been in planning and zoning and had these questions come up before too with some of them we don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, how long they've come or where they've come from. Some of them seem like, did we at one time buy a land use ordinance code? Because some of these, you could type these in and you could find them. Same thing,
Understand what you're saying.
they're in multiple jurisdictions, I guess,
It was
sometimes.
adopted in 2004.
Yeah. So, and I see that, but I'm just wondering if there was any record in 4 where it can't. I don't know what and why you would keep a herd of raccoons in the R1 district. I mean, so that's what I mean. This is boilerplate land use code that we must have gotten some point and does need to be reviewed. So is there a schedule with P and Z, or is it just we direct for just a specific code, or do they look at maybe a section at a time to start refining this overall? Because like I said, when I got this one, the noise one, I've dealt with noise and enforced noise and seen others. And this one, you could copy and paste that in and you're gonna hit a lot of jurisdictions that have that exact verbiage. Because it was probably purchased out of a code book, just like we did the P and property maintenance code. So if we want something different, more specific, we'd have to do the research on it, like, to other communities. I don't know how to direct them to be specific because
If we can be specific.
I would,
I guess we'd have them look at, if we're gonna do this by acreage.
that's what I would see it more by districts.
I was gonna say, it's kind of hard if you do by acreage, because I think you had said at the P and Z meeting that they had the coop right against the property line. Now they've got it 20 feet back or something, so
10 feet.
10 feet back. So, I'm not sure that, I mean, if they put it right in the middle of their property, yeah, you could probably, acreage would probably make a lot of sense.
They
but-
don't have acreage.
He's on a lot.
He's on a lot.
It would be like me having a rooster. Well, yeah, well.
Big smile, Carol. Sorry, I gotta get serious. It's hard. But yeah, obviously we let them come up with something that township wise, not East Bethel wise, because being a city, the cities do handle things differently than townships. I kind of like living in the country. I kind of want to stay there, but I'm like you. I don't like. We used to have roosters at home, and so there has to be something that they can come up with. They can at least draw from.
Well, the problem is most people go to work and they don't hear it for 8, 10 hours a day. But I like being outside and I'm retired. So when I'm out there, I hear them constantly and it's just aggravating. It's very aggravating.
I really think that they should look at the whole non-domestic animal
Mhm.
policy and especially roosters. How's that?
Okay, make that a motion.
I'll make that a motion. That planning and zoning, look at the non-domestic animal policy that we have or code that we have and bring us back something.
Bring that policy back to us.
I'll
Or an
second,
ordinance.
I'll second that.
Then moved and seconded discussion.
So let's say that they come back and they come up with an ordinance and we approve it. This is the new guy question. So is this rooster that's next to Mr. Murphy's place, is that grandfathered in? So it's not actually fixing his issue?
No,
Or is it enforceable?
it's enforceable. I believe.
Yes.
Okay.
He's only had it for about a year, and actually, I think he did it just, cause he did have barking dogs too. And, you know, I said, hey, can you keep your dog quiet? And, you know, he got all belligerent and started swearing at me, so I started swearing back at him. Well, then, you know, 2 weeks later, he had a rooster, so, you know.
All right, any other, Pam?
You know, yeah, I think the choice to do all the non-domestics, but I think another area they need to look at is dogs. That's another area that we hear issues with. How many dogs can you have on small lots? How many dogs can you have?
Right now.
Again, this has been going on for several years that maybe on the small lots, you're only allowed 2 dogs, but you can have 3 dogs on bigger lots without a kennel license. I mean, some of it just doesn't make sense.
That'll have to be made another motion. That'll have to come up later because we have a motion on the floor and seconded. Right now.
It was just a comment.
Okay.
It was,
Okay, on the motion. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
I,
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
I'd call the sheriff 3 times a day.
Well,
That's what I would do. You know, I have a neighbor who got extremely upset at my dogs. I had the sheriff at my house 10 times.
township sheriff is named. Well, I went over, I drive around my property and I pick up junk because people do throw on vacant lots and stuff, you know, so I go around once, twice a year and I pick up the junk. Well, I was going to pick up, and I got a picture of it. I'm gonna show you guys. And,
You gotta make
I was
this
down
quick.
there, I was just gonna put it out on the street for the trash to pick up. And, he got all, I mean, the neighbors came out and they got all pissed off and said I couldn't do that and.
All right, sir, we gotta get going here, so.
He's got a 75-foot lot. And his fence line is up there. And he might be 5 or 6 feet on the other side. But this is what I was gonna pick up and throw on the street to throw. They called the cops on me. And had Jacobson came out and just read me the riot act, said I had to get it surveyed before I could pick anything up. And the other ones were saying it's their property and, I mean,
All right,
it's just a nightmare over there sometimes.
right now, we're gonna try to deal with your chicken. All right. Resignation, Mr.